What is up, fans? What is up, followers? Welcome back to the Third Bowl. I'm your host, Devin Welsh. And in today's show, I'm just going to give a quick breakdown of the Week 6 action that took place a couple days ago. And I will always, of course, provide my Week 6 USFL power rankings. So, let's get into it. So for the first game of the weekend, it was between the 2-3 Maulers and the 2-3 Showboats. And the Showboats ended up on top 22-0, the first shutout of the season, right? So for the Showboats, I thought it was a great performance all around. The defense, of course, forced a shutout. The offense was humming with Cole Kelly just manning the helm of the Showboat Yacht Club. I think that's what they call themselves on Twitter. And of course, Derek Dillon showed up with a 109-yard return for a touchdown after the Maulers missed, I believe it was a 59-yard field goal attempt. Anyway, Showboats definitely not the same team from weeks 1 through 3. It has been so much fun to watch them ball out and play these last couple of weeks. And just want to mention this offense was 3 for 3 on 4th down. So let's get into the Maulers. What is going on there? What happened? This offense looked totally dysfunctional with both Troy Williams and James Morgan in at quarterback. 3 interceptions between the two of them. It was just really bad. The saving grace of this team, though, I have to mention, is this defense. This defense is so great. It's amazing. There's a certain player on the team, I believe his name is Tizino. Just amazing player on that defense. Always flying around making tackles. Just love to watch him play on that defense. All right, so the second game of this past weekend was between the 3-2 Stallions and the 2-3 Panthers. And of course, if y'all watched the game, you know the Stallions ended up on top 27, Panthers 13. Alex Magoo for the Stallions, man, he is playing at such a high level. Such a high level. I swear, I feel every week he should be winning Player of the Week, but he did win Player of the Week for, I believe, his second time so far in the season. Let's break down some of his stats. He went 19 of 24, so only 5 incompletions. 218 total yards and 3 touchdowns on the day. His running back, CJ Marable, number 11, he looked good out there. No fumbles, touchdown. It's always great. Now, Sternberger was getting some more action. His tight end, I believe he's number 12. Sternberger was getting some more action in this game. If you did watch the game, I'm sure you guys saw there was a point in the game where Sternberger was getting into it with his coach. Let me just tell you, as a player of 11 years that played football, that is part of the game. That is just coaching. Sternberger was frustrated. He let it out. Coaching, he came in. He didn't take it personal. He coached him up. And guess what? Sternberger got more action. I love seeing that. I love Sternberger. I love watching him play. He's a great tight end. He's right up there with Sage Stroud, in my opinion. Now, these Stallions face the Breakers next week. Actually, this week, I should say, in a couple of days. That's going to be a great game. Now, for the Panthers, this offensive line, they couldn't stop a leak. I can't believe it. Josh Love was running for his life all day long. And it, real quick, just came to my mind. They stuck with Josh Love all game, which I like that from the Panthers. Anyway, Reggie Corbin, Stevie Scott couldn't get anything going on the ground. Their lanes were shut down before they could even get there. They did have a rhythm in the second half where on first down they were passing and on second down they were running the ball. And I believe 3 or 4 times in a row on a certain drive, they got a first down. But they got away from it and they didn't have any luck anywhere else offensively. But no turnovers for the offense. That's good. And the defense definitely is looking good with Breland Speaks, of course, leading the league in sacks, and Frank Ginda at linebacker winning co-defensive player of the week for the Panthers. So for the third game of the weekend, this was between the 4-1 Breakers and the 2-3 Stars. And let me tell you, I called this Saturday morning at 7:50 a.m. The Stars were going to win. They were going to beat the Breakers. And guess what? The Stars ended up on top 16 to the Breakers 10. Let's get into the Stars real quick. Upset alert. Case Cookis was on fire most of the game. Minus his 2 interceptions, right? And this is thanks to his offensive line. His offensive line stepped it up this week. 0 sacks allowed after Cookis running for his life all week. The weeks before, just like Josh Love was this week. The offense still struggled in the red zone. I do have to mention, no touchdowns. The only touchdown came on the defensive pick six, right? So for the Breakers, I think McLeod Bethel-Thompson, I think he's going to beat himself up after this game because he's the reason they lost, right? He is definitely the reason they lost. He threw 2 interceptions. One of them, like I said earlier, was a pick six, and he didn't find his rhythm until way late in the game. Sage Surratt was great. Wes Hills was great. D. Anderson was great. MBT wasn't. If MBT plays like this against the Stallions this coming week, Stallions are gonna stampede over them, right? Stampede. All right, now the last game of the weekend was between the 2-3 Generals and the 3-2 Gamblers, and the Gamblers ended up on top, 16, Generals 10. Let's get into the Gamblers first. Kenji Bahar. He did return from injury. He was out the last week. The 2 backup quarterbacks started for him in his place. They alternated last week. Don't want to get into last week. This past week, though, against the Generals, Kenji Bahar, he played well. You know, he's coming back from injury, of course, like I just said. He got the win. I'll put it that way. Mark Thompson, running like a bruiser yet again. He did score the lone touchdown of the day for the Gamblers. I believe he's now leading the league in rushing touchdowns. I will check that out before this upcoming weekend. I do live tweet all of the games. If anybody's interested, check me out at the third bowl at Twitter. Give me a follow. Anyway, Gamblers ended up on top. Justin Hall, shifty as ever. I call him the Yak Master. He's the Yak Master, and he leads the league in yards after catch. It's great. Fun to watch him play. Gamblers D-line and DBs, they were all just playing good. They made it hard for the Generals all day long. Kyle Lauletta, he got the start for the Generals ahead of DeAndre Johnson. I'm a big fan of DeAndre Johnson. Therefore, I think this was a mistake. The offense looked lost without DeAndre Johnson. In the first half, Kyle Lauletta went 4 for 12. The offense only got 90 yards. Was nice to see Darius Victor running super hard and smart. Last week, he fumbled several times. So this week, he was definitely running hard with 2 hands on the rock. I saw that multiple times. Always good to see that. He did learn, and he had no fumbles this week. So it's always good to see a running back protecting that rock. All right, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. My USFL Week 6 power rankings. Let's get into it. At the top spot, we got the Houston Gamblers with a 4-2 record. 4 straight wins for Kenji Bahar and company. I know there was 1 week where he didn't start. Shh, it's okay. Mark Thompson, he's looking like the best running back in the league. Watch out. Justin Hall, the league's shiftiest returner and receiver. They're the best third down team in the league. Week 7 should be a good showdown for them. In the second spot, we got the Stallions at 4-2. Alex Magoo equals Alex Magoo, bro. He's playing sick. This offense runs through him. Magoo has improved week in and week out, and it's exciting to see. He leads the league in passer rating, and he has one of the best completion percentages. All of this while being completely deadly with his legs. And his supporting cast has been excellent as well. Marable, Sternberger, Davis, Watkins. They got a big matchup this week against the number 3 Breakers. The New Orleans Breakers come in at 3rd with the 4-2 record. We do have 2 straight losses for MBT and company. He has regressed the last 2 weeks. Warming up and finding his rhythm later in the game, it's definitely, that's what I said about him in weeks 1 through 3. I do remember saying that. He has thrown 5 interceptions in the last 2 weeks. The Breakers lost the last 2 weeks. So, stop the turnovers, start the winning. Aside from MBT, the Breakers are still leading the league in basically every statistical category. Like I said, they got a big showdown with the Stallions this week. It's going to be game of the week, in my opinion. Coming in at 4, we got the Memphis Showboats. 3 straight wins for the Jolly Green Giant Cole Kelly. That's what I call them. And the Showboats. This team has definitely been playing much better than weeks 1 through 3. It's a whole different level. This offense is scoring touchdowns. This defense is flying around making tackles. And Derek Dillon is scooping up 109-yard field goal misses for touchdowns. It's everything. Everything is clicking for the Showboats. This game against the Gamblers is coming week. It's going to be a good test of who they really are. We're going to see a lot about them. Coming in at 5, we got the Stars, 3-3. Introducing the new 1 seed in the USFL North. That USFL North is looking a little disastrous. It reminds me of the XFL South, if any of you guys are XFL fans. Cookus, Colburn, and Coleman. Hard to say that real fast, but when those 3 are in rhythm, this team is in rhythm. This team is in sync, right? The O-line cleaned up their play this game compared to the, couple games the last couple weeks. If this O-line can maintain that type of protection for Cookus, if they can fix and solve their red zone woes, and if they can stop with these flags. They had 13 flags in this game. I didn't mention it earlier. I'm mentioning it now. They had 13 flags in this game, 144 yards. They set a record, most flags, most penalties in the game. If they can fix all those things, I can see this team making it to the playoffs and winning first week. I think that's a big differentiation, because if they are the 1 seed, obviously they make the playoffs. I think they can win. When Case Cookus is in a clean pocket, he cooks. All right, coming in at 6, we got the Pittsburgh Maulers with a 2-4 record. Just when it looked like the Maulers had found their stride, sure enough, they trip and fall on their face. I believe in Troy Williams. I do, but it feels like the coaching staff doesn't. He threw an interception. He got benched for James Morgan, who came in and threw 2 interceptions. Now, aside from these quarterback woes, the Maulers are top 2 in the league defensively. Tizino, menace. Flies around, like I said, always making tackles. If they can get this quarterback situation under control, I say Troy Williams. I trust in him. Give him another chance. It's going to work out. At number 7, we got the New Jersey Generals with a 2-4 record. Again, Generals are still the second worst team in the league, in my opinion. Coaching staff decided to move away from DeAndre Johnson, but I think he gives them the best shot at winning, especially because he's so mobile. He's so deadly with those legs. I don't know what's going on there. Panthers. Worst team in the league. Of course, yet again. If it's not one thing, it's another for these Panthers. At least this week, Josh Love was the sole quarterback. He maintained the drive, or I should say, he maintained the helm of the offense for the entirety of the game, which is nice to see. Like I said earlier, it's nice to see them sticking with one quarterback. But they still can't get anything going. And now Reggie Corbin, you saw that injury, right? I did. It looked pretty serious. I'm worried for him. And I did see in this past couple days, they did sign another running back. I think he might be gone for the season. Sad to say. He's one of my favorite players on the team. Anyway, aside from this offense, this defense is fierce. Still, Brilliant Speaks and Frank Gindo always winning players of the week on defense in the USFL. I don't know if they can turn it around offensively. What's to stop them? That defense is good. So, anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned in. I know it was a while. I know you guys had to be super patient, but I do appreciate you guys sticking it out, checking in and watching my content. It means so much to me. It makes me feel so good to know that I'm helping y'all understand the USFL just a little bit better, right? Anyway, once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And tune in next week for USFL Week 7 Power Rankings. Once again, this is the Third Bowl with Devin Welsh. That's me. Adios.